Good afternoon, everybody. On this Tuesday, October 21st, 2025, I got all your stories for your rush hour ride home. Tons to get into as Candace Owens revealed through a tweet that she plans to violate the Charlie Kirk gag order. What does this mean? What info will she be dropping later today? She, of course, records her episodes after we release, so won't have all of the information, but stick around. We'll be the first to talk about it when it comes out. Also, don't have an update yet on Laura Owens, but her trial is today. What to expect? Will the judge throw this thing out? Will Laura show up? She tried very hard to not show up, and I don't even think she has permission from Arizona to leave the state. You know you done messed up when you need the state's permission to cross borders. I am recording from my mobile studio set up in Florida. Did not have to ask the state of Tennessee to leave because I have not been charged with 7 felonies. A boy can dream. We'll get into Laura Owens and also more on Blake Lively, as the unsealed, illegally recorded audio has everybody discussing. How did Claire get connected to Blake? Was there other sinister forces at play? We'll dive into all of that. Plus, John Stamos offers some defense of Lori Loughlin. Now that Lori Loughlin's marriage has fallen apart, his former wife of Full House, their showmance, apparently strong, as Stamos goes over how she took the fall for her husband, of course, in that college admissions scandal. Also, we'll discuss ICE, as a California U.S. representative has now made a joint oversight committee to record instances of misconduct by ICE. Well, I hope that extra bonus you got for joining ICE could go to legal fees, because some people not following the Constitution might be, there's going to be a lot of civil issues to go through with those that have had their rights violated. But hey, that's the world we live in. These stories and more starts right now on The Rush. Okay, before we get into the Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk story, before we get into Blake Lively, let's go back to Le Louvre, the museum in France. The heist has raised security questions after the theft unfolded in less than 8 minutes. Let's have a listen to all that they've discovered as far as DNA is concerned.
The police found plenty of evidence under the thieves' ladder, including a power saw, gloves, and a walkie-talkie, as well as gasoline. Apparently, they'd wanted to burn their tools, but didn't have time. The robbers wanted France's crown jewels, priceless in historical terms, but broken up and sold on the black market, still worth multi-millions. This heist is a tragedy and a national embarrassment. Tourists were stunned.
You know, you think in the Louvre, of all places, don't they have like the best security on the planet?
In fact, they don't have the best security on the planet, and that's kicked off a huge blame game in France.
Listen, I lived in France. Let me tell you something. This is the problem, is we've existed in Hollywood for too long, and we think that you need laser guided, you need to do like a ballet dance to dance around the lasers to not trip the security. But what this showed is that a smash and grab is probably the easiest and best way to do a getaway. There's enough crazy people outside making TikTok videos. There's AI everywhere. No one thinks anything's real anymore. All of a sudden, a couple people robbed the Louvre, and you're like, wow, they must be shooting a movie. That couldn't actually be them robbing the Louvre. Well, and again, the French, God bless them, right? But they're not, they're taking a cigarette break, security's hanging out, they're eating a baguette, living their life. So, yeah, this is, it's wild. It's brazen. Okay, let me just say this. I'm not rooting for the robbers, but there is this sort of feeling where you kind of want them to get away for a little bit. I don't know. I know that's wrong. I shouldn't be happy if there's like theft of someone's crown jewels. But do I really care about the royal families that ruled the worlds and instituted their colonization? I don't know. Maybe this is a win for the little guy. There could be a story, some Jean Valjean stuff. Maybe they have medical bills they got to pay, so they had to steal the crown jewels. Let's wait and see how it plays out, is what I'm trying to say. All right, well, maybe we'll watch the documentary on HBO. Maybe we won't. Can we even afford HBO? HBO Max raises prices across all plans effective immediately. Listen, I cancel HBO every other month. If there's something I don't want to watch, I cancel it. Come back when you got a hit TV show in its third season, and maybe I'll be back on HBO Max, but it's a no for me. All right, let's move it on. Laura Owens versus Michael Maricini. This is from the subreddit Justice for Clayton. Of course, Clayton Echard, the bachelor who has had to deal with Laura Owens. And now, of course, due to the grassroots effort, she's charged with 7 felonies, including perjury. We helped crack the case. You all know the details. Well, you got to go follow Justice for Clayton on Reddit, Instagram, Twitter. They just have it all. So day 1 of the 2-day trial is set to be today. And here's what's supposed to happen. The first day of Laura Owens versus Mike Maricini domestic violence restraining order hearing scheduled for today. It's supposed to be going on like right now. The second day of Laura Owens versus Mike Maricini is tomorrow. Cameras and live stream are not permitted in the courtroom. Our pal Megan Fox has permission from the court to have her laptop in the courtroom to take notes. Maybe by the end of this episode, I'll know if Laura Owens is in the courtroom. I'm going to literally text in right now as I'm recording this. So stick around. We'll do an update at the end of this episode. That's how crunched for time that we are. So we'll have to see. There's a GoFundMe if you want to raise money for Mike Maricini. Go to Justice for Clayton on Reddit to find that out. Laura's tried to get a continuance. Her first was denied. The second was submitted very close to the hearing, so we don't know if the judge is going to consider it. She claims that she's got severe anorexia, which I don't doubt that that's the case. Listen, I think there's something severely wrong with Laura Owens. I wouldn't put it past her when she says, "Oh, I fell off a horse and I have seizures." I believe all of that. I believe there's something very, very wrong with her, to the point where she probably should be in a mental institution and not in jail. But this is her family's fault for not really getting her the medication and whatever resources she needs, because the collateral damage is trying to ruin multiple men's lives. If she had it her way, none of these guys would ever be working. They would just be destroyed, all because there's something missing in her brain that's cross-wired. And it's like, on one end, I feel bad for her, but on the other, let's put out the flames of the fire that was created by her manic issues, and then we can deal with her. But we'll have to see what the judge says today. All right, here's your updates with regards to Justin Baldoni. I've got several of the creators that have been following the case. Here's Bocce Gohawks talking about how the audio from the Steve Sarowitz secret recording is not retaliation. You know, it was cherry picked by Blake's lawyers. I'm also going to share an audience member who thinks that Blake's lawyers set Blake up. Have a listen.
This is meant to show that Steve Sarowitz planned to retaliate against Blake for bringing up sexual harassment. Elsrich brought up a good point last night. Then why is it 2 bodies? Blake and Ryan, right? Blake and Ryan. So how is it retaliation? What protected activity did Ryan engage in?
And this is very interesting too. And again, Elsrich, another content creator, came up with this theory. When Steve Sarowitz said there'll be 2 dead bodies, he then went on to say, not physically dead, just dead to me, which should throw out this whole sort of cherry-picked quote that they had in the first place. But the question is, with 2 dead bodies, this means you're not just targeting Blake, you're targeting Ryan. How much did Ryan have to do with a lot of the coercion that went into it? He hasn't been deposed. He's all but stayed out of this. And this has to be a rift in the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds household. And again, maybe there's a strategy that he doesn't get her back, but he's got more, worth. He's made hundreds of millions of dollars in the sale of Mint Mobile. Like, the guy's worth a lot of money, Aviation Gin, all these other things, that maybe they don't want him to get involved for some sort of way to protect his assets. But it's got to be tough look that she's kind of going alone at it. But as we can see here from Steve Sarowitz, Ryan Reynolds was every part of this problem. All right, so I have an update. I just got it from the trial here in San Francisco. Apologies for jumping around, folks, but this is a breaking news update. Laura Owens is not going to show up to court. She never asked for permission. Maybe she'll be there via Zoom. So we'll have to see what the judge has to say. She never asked permission from Arizona to even leave Arizona. I thought, well, maybe she would have showed up anyway. Maybe if California wanted her to be there and Arizona didn't give her permission, who do you There's no one jurisdictions. I guess since she's from Arizona, the jurisdiction of Arizona would take priority there. But either way, maybe she'll show up for your Zoom, maybe not. Let me know is my response to Megan Fox. She's there in the courtroom, so we'll continue to follow her and what she has to say. All right, let's do this. I'm going to share a little girl attorney, her thoughts on Claire and Steve Sarowitz's phone call. Then I've got a actual response from an audience member saying that they think Blake is being set up. This is coming next. All right, let's finish up on the Justin Baldoni stuff. Here's a little girl attorney and her thoughts on the Steve Sarowitz illegally recorded phone call.
Because Steve Sarowitz seems to be talking about reacting to if claims are brought against the studio, how he would react. He would protect the studio. It does not say anything about suing Lively. It does not say anything about suing Ryan Reynolds. It does not say anything about suing by Wayfair. The only thing it says is to protect the studio, which means defend, which is exactly what they are still doing today, and they are legally entitled to do so. Defending a lawsuit is perfectly legal, and it is not prevented by 47.1.
Yes, and that's exactly what I felt there, which there was a lot of conditional statement. If they do this, we'll do that. If they want to go public, we'll do this. It really is this. The sense that I've gotten from all of this is that we've had the Wayfair parties just be on the defensive. They didn't want to go public. They just wanted to be done with Blake and never work with her again. Well, Blake might have an issue with her own lawyers. Here's an interesting TikTok we got from CWhite395. Came across my page. Like to feature people when they have good theories and thoughts here. But this person believes that Blake Lively got scammed by her own lawyers. Have a listen.
Her attorney scammed her. They scammed her. Oh, you have a lawsuit. You got this. We've got videotapes. We got everything. Y'all don't have shit. And that Steve Sarowitz, that's a man that loves his friends and loves his company. And Claire girl, they're gonna come. They're gonna dig around. They're gonna find your connection. You've been told you're a spy. And the only people that are making out on this is Blake's attorneys. They're the ones.
Now that's true. She's got a point there that the attorneys, they're cashing those checks regardless of the outcome. And yeah, and it's, is it ethical for an attorney to pitch to you why they think they got to win? Well, we got them saying this. Well, we got this. Now, in the end, Blake's got her own agency to decide if she wants to file a complaint in a suit. So it could be that Blake's own karma got her in this mess. And also, she's responsible for her own actions, which are that she filed this complaint claiming that there was harassment and all of the PR game that went into it when they went from harassment and then they called it assault for a little bit and then they're back to harassment and then Justin Baldoni drops the video evidence which shows that there was really no funny games going on at all. We've yet to see a shred of evidence that proved Blake's side. So yeah, Blake probably and listen, if you've got money, people are going to come after that money, whether it's lawyers or real estate agents or whoever, right? They're going to want a slice of that pie. And Blake, I guess, has, probably lost touch with reality and thought she had a little bit more power than she did. And folks, that's why we call it flying too close to the sun. The wings have been melted. They were only put together with wax. And now you go for a nice little swim. All right. And our last story for the first half of the episode, TMZ actually has a story where they're standing by their reporting after the White House has denied that Trump is considering commuting Diddy's sentence possibly this week. Did you get that? So TMZ reported that Diddy might get pardoned by Trump. The White House said no, and then TMZ responded and said, no, we're standing by that. This might happen. Now, this would be insane. Diddy, if you've seen, now the trial was complicated, right? Because it didn't involve a lot of the domestic violence video that we have because that was like settled out of court. But make no mistakes about it. Diddy is a wife beater or a girlfriend beater. He is an abuser. He's a bad guy. If the Trump administration pardons him, it'll be very interesting to see how anybody sees this as a good thing. So the White House Communications Office is saying that the TMZ story is not true. They stand by their story. TMZ says our story is accurate. Well, we'll know this week, but I couldn't imagine. I mean, George Santos was pardoned this week, and he didn't have to pay restitution to his victims. He lied about his mom being at 9/11. He lied about so many different things, and it's like, are we for law and order or not? That's the real question out there. Okay, well, how about this? Speaking of law and order, coming up next, we've got Candace Owens. I tell you what, she tweets and it breaks the internet. Say what you want about her, but we're going to cover her thoughts on Charlie Kirk's case. That all coming next.